I had told everyone they could choose their own as long as it was in autumn colors, but Lena was extremely picky. I even had pictures of my husband and my ex dancing together during the dollar dance. Hey guys, welcome back to another week of me reacting to your wedding stories, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. Today I have 2 stories for you today, so let's just get right into it. This could be considered either a drama or a success story because it all happened behind the scenes and everything worked out in the end. That's what I always like to tell people is like all these stories are just kind of like heightened drama, right? Most of the time, if you are a guest or you are a bride, you will not know about these happening, maybe after the fact, but the day of, most of this is usually like under wraps. So don't worry if you're a current bride and this is like stressing you out. I wanted a male friend of mine from college, let's call him Jake, to be a part of the wedding party on my side. At first, he was a little uncomfortable about it. To help ease his discomfort, I invited his fiancée, let's call her Lena, to be in the bridal party with him. Oh, wow. Once planning got underway, the rest of the bridal party absolutely loved Jake. Lena, however, had 2 modes, completely silent or full-on trauma dumping. She shared a lot about her past and current struggles. Of course, we empathized with her, but most people felt she was a little too intense, especially with people who didn't know her very well. She also had a way of making things about herself. Okay, so my first thoughts on this is like I can kind of get the like very silent and trauma dumping or just kind of like pushing it all out there. I've said this about myself before, like if you are in a high anxiety situation where maybe you don't know a lot of people, it can be very intimidating, right? So you can maybe like close off yourself, but then like myself, if I find one person that I immediately like connect with, we can just spill. We can just like let it all out. Like I just met you, but let me tell you my lifelong story, where I grew up, my first time I was broken up with, so just like I can see how people can turn that way in like high anxiety moments. Maybe that's her way of connecting. However, I feel like there's much more of the story that I don't know yet. So let's see what happened. At one dress shopping trip to David's bridal, the only people who showed up were me, my maid of honor, Jake, and Lena. Interesting. I am one for like the less people, the better at your wedding dress shopping. Think of like your top like 3 or 4 very important people to you, like your mom, maybe your mother-in-law, your maid of honor, another good friend, a sister, cousin. Just keep it small because the more people you add, the more opinions you have, and it could take a much longer time, right? And if you don't know a person that much, it doesn't sound like she knows the girlfriend that much, maybe don't invite someone like that just because like it's already kind of an uncomfortable situation, right? And he already felt uncomfortable being in your wedding. So why have them in such an intimate thing where you really care about their opinions? That's just my take. Since my mom and my future mother-in-law couldn't make it, I decided to reschedule the dress day. But while we were there, Lena figured since she and Jake were also getting married, she might as well try on a wedding gown. Okay, this is where it gets weird. She also roped me and my then future sister-in-law into helping her choose a bridesmaid dress. Okay, this is getting a little weird. I had told everyone they could choose their own as long as it was in autumn colors, but Lena was extremely picky. She ultimately ended up borrowing a dress from my sister-in-law. See, that's the thing too, is like if I'm asked to be a bridesmaid in someone's wedding where I'm already not very close with them, and it was kind of like a pity ask, I don't even know if you want to call it that, I would not be picky. I'd be like, just give me whatever dress you want me to wear. I will gladly wear it. I also probably wouldn't say yes if I knew I was like a pity ask. So I don't know. Okay, so I'm also kind of confused. They all showed up to this dress shopping day, and then her mom and mother-in-law just couldn't make it that day because it just sounds like they had this appointment. They were all there, and then they were going to reschedule the dress day. So I'm confused why just that day the mom and mother-in-law couldn't be there. Okay, so it says eventually Jake broke off the engagement. Thankfully, we had enough time before the wedding to cancel her flowers. Oh, she returned the borrowed dress, and Jake, my groomsman, stood by my side with a huge smile when I got married. 6 years later, Jake married the true love of his life, a different woman, and I had the honor of being the matron of honor at his wedding. We're both still happily married to our respective spouses. I love that. That is a very happy ending of a story. I'm so glad that worked out. I feel like there's a lot of detail and stuff we're missing, and just knowing we're only getting one side of the story, it does make me kind of feel feel for Lena a little bit. Yes, the dress shopping thing was kind of weird, but it sounds like someone that's maybe going through a lot or maybe had a difficult upbringing or something difficult happened to her. Because I hear someone's completely silent. I hear they have a lot of anxiety or social anxiety of some aspect. Of course, we don't know. That's not full story. Anyways, I'm glad it all worked out and that you and Jake are still really good friends. Okay, guys, story number 2. I married my second husband in 2013, 4 years after divorcing my first husband, the father of my oldest son. The first time my ex found out about my new relationship, which is a whole story in itself, let's just say it didn't go over well. But over the next 4 years, things shifted. We worked hard at building a friendship and becoming solid co-parents. That is amazing. I can only imagine the hard work that is to get on the same page with someone you're no longer involved with romantically, but were at some point and are now trying to raise kids together but separately, right? My current husband was included in that dynamic. By the time my second wedding came around, things had improved so much that my ex, along with his mom and dad, all attended. Okay, I love that. These are all like such great happy ending kind of stories. I mean, we'll save more happy. We'll save. They were genuinely happy for us and had a great time at the celebration. It meant the world to have everyone come together like that. Fast forward 4 more years, my ex got engaged. My husband was invited to the bachelor party and I went to his fiance's bridal shower. When it came time for the wedding, we all packed up. Myself, my husband, and our 2 sons drove about 4 hours to her hometown for the rehearsal and festivities. It was a beautiful weekend. We met my son's new stepfamily, spent the time with my ex's extended family again, and genuinely had a blast. I even had pictures of my husband and my ex dancing together during the dollar dance. Me and his new wife laughing and celebrating, and all 4 of us cheekily flipping off the camera with our ring fingers proudly up, wedding rings shining. A perfect snapshot of peace, growth, and mutual respect. It hasn't always been easy, but we've always made the conscious choice to be a united front for our son. And being friends instead of fighting has made life better for everyone involved. So yes, 2 drama-free ex at the wedding stories, and honestly, I wouldn't trade that kind of peace for anything. Okay, I love that story because it does give hope to people listening that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It doesn't have to be this chaotic drama story. There are so many ways to work together, build up trust again or a friendship, and have it work out. Like, look at this amazing story, and they did it for the better good of their son and raising their son together. So props to these families. That is awesome. Both stories had a nice happy ending, which we don't hear a lot. Not saying we don't have tons of happy stories. Of course, there are so many happy ending stories that get sent to me, and I try to mix them in. We all love the drama here, of course. Thank you guys for submitting those stories. Those were great ones. If you guys have positive stories, please feel free to send them to me. We like to sprinkle them in here and there. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Of course, in case you guys missed it, I gotta remind you that my new book, Here Comes the Drama, is out now. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Ingram Spark, Kobo, but Ingram Spark pushes it out to libraries, public bookstores, and it pushes them into their database. So if you guys want to see it at your public library or a local bookstore, please let them know. Ask them about this book and see if we can get it on the shelves. And then, of course, if you see it on the shelf, please take a picture and send it to me. I'm so grateful for the love and the support for this book. If you have it, please tag me on social media at Party Planning by Christa. I would love to see your videos, your pictures, where you're reading it, what your thoughts are, and so much more. It's just been so much fun. It's currently 4.6 stars on Amazon and counting. So thank you guys so much for all the excitement and love on this book. Hopefully more to come. All right, guys, that's all I have for this week. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you next time. Bye now.